Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and every year we try and look at technology and show you and give you an option of what I coined a long time ago. Actually, I think 5 years ago, 4 years ago, is the $1,000 live streaming bundle. The mindset is technology is getting better and better, gooder and gooder every year, and it's pushing the prices down and the capabilities of what this technology can do. It's making it easier and easier to get started with live streaming, and you don't have to break the budget. And we set a goal of $1,000. So we're revisiting this again because a bunch of y'all have asked about it. Tech has gotten better. And actually, this whole bundle that I'm getting ready to show you is the exact same bundle that we're getting ready to install at a church. So I want to go through it and just show you all the options for those that say, oh, we don't want to spend a lot of money, but this is going to give you a lot of bang for your buck and some significant changes. So originally when I did this, the $1,000 bundle consisted of all the parts of building a live streaming computer that ran OBS, and you got one camera that went with it. And hey, you had OBS, you had a camera, that was it. And then we were able to migrate that over to getting an ATEM and then a camera, then an ATEM and then a PTZ, then multiple other things. And it was kind of hard to balance both of them. But with these mini PCs that I've been using a lot now, this is actually a Ryzen 7. This is the one that I have, but a Ryzen 5, which is a part of the main systems that I would still build. You can get a system like that for as low as $250. But anyway, I'm jumping ahead. Let's go look at the parts individually. Now, I'm going to have a link to this list here of everything here, and we're going to put it all together so you can see. So starting from the bottom, we have the Beelink Mini PC. And again, I've used this computer multiple times. This is the exact same one that we're actually going to put at this church. But this is going for $259. You got 16 gigs of memory. It is a Ryzen 5 5560. Pretty much in line with the same systems that we used to build, but in a very small form factor. It has a 500 gigabyte hard drive, half a terabyte, more than enough. And it does have a GPU on the chip. So when you live stream with this thing, you're actually having a GPU accelerated streaming. So it'll be able to handle this. Now, if you've been following me for any point in time, I do not like having a streaming system or computers in the church do multiple functions. So I'm breaking my rule just a little bit because, again, we're trying to get in under a price. So you can run Presenter on here, and you could run OBS for live streaming, and that would give you a lot of horsepower for this system. So you have two display outs, and you could use a USB-C out, but you have DisplayPort and HDMI. So one of them could go to your monitor. The other one could go to a connection to projectors, televisions with an HDMI splitter if you wanted to. So that's number one. So let's go ahead and add it here. So we're going to put this right in front of your eyes so you can actually see what the price is. And you see there are a bunch of these other ones. If you wanted more horsepower than that, you can go up to a Ryzen 9. You're probably going to pay $500, $600 for that, but that is your choice. All right, the next thing we got is I'm going to jump over here to the AJay E20. I have bought this camera tons and tons and tons of times. They actually have the new updated one at the lower price that I believe some of these actually have AI tracking in them. Don't hold me to that. But this one at least has NDI, and that's what we're going to leverage with this. So for sub $400, you got a 20x PTZ camera. It has HDMI out, SDI out, and this one has NDI as well. So really cool. So we'll add that. So far we're over halfway there. Are we going to be able to get the rest of it? I believe we can. Now we can add a POE switch into this that will provide power to the camera, as well as getting us network access. I've used the BVTX for a long time. It's $25, a great little switch. And I'm just going to assume I'm using the RCA to 3.5 millimeter cables to plug into this computer so you can get audio. This price cable, it doesn't matter which one you get. You can get dual XLR, dual quarter-inch, or RCA. They're all around the same price, give or take about $1. So it's not going to break the bank. So I'm just using this to pull audio from our mixer so we can have audio come into the mini computer for OBS, for our audio. Now I'm going to save the joystick here because this is something I tried to add just to see where we're at. But we're going to add a 75-foot cable. And technically, we really don't need a HDMI because we were going to do everything over NDI. That's the reason why that camera was important. But if you wanted to have a physical connection here, I would probably look at adding one of those mini HDMI capture cards that we did that was running for about like $10, something like this. So I'm just going to add this in here. So that's adding $10 to our price. So this gives you a choice of if you do everything through NDI, you only need that Ethernet cable that's going to go power the camera, and we'll send the video over a network. If you want a physical, that's where we would add the capture card in the back. Now I'm going to add a 75-foot Ethernet cable. You can go as high as you want, but I'm just going to do 75 for right now, going for $10. That's going to give network access and power over Ethernet to the camera, so you don't need to worry about power there. We'll add a 75-foot fiber optic HDMI cable. This is only needed if you use a physical capture device in the system. We got a classic keyboard and mouse here, $13. And then we're going to add a 24-inch monitor AOC. That's actually the monitor that I'm using is by AOC, a 4K one. So very good system here. And let's see where we're at. Look at that. With everything, monitor, keyboard, mouse, physical connections, Ethernet connections, audio connections, capture device, POE switch, PTZ, and system, we're at $842. So we're well under $1,000. But this is where I wanted to add, because now without a joystick, you're going to have to control it either through a web interface or the remote. This is the lowest priced PTZ controller I could find at the time. So if we added that, we are about $140 over the top of that. Now, that is your choice. I think it's good that we're not at $1,000, but we're right there. Or you could just forego the joystick and you can play around with the remote. And I think over time, you'll get enough buy-in to get that. Or, like I said, if we add this back here, and say most likely you already got yourself a monitor, we can get rid of that. And we're about $60 over. And again, you may already have a keyboard and mouse. And the idea is just to get it down as close as possible. Now, if you got rid of the HDMI and the capture device, let's refresh it. Then we're right under it. So this would assume that you already have your own keyboard and mouse and your own monitor, and you're going to use everything over NDI. So we're actually going to use a capture device on the setup that I'm going to be doing. All the rest of these parts, I already got the system. I was trying to find where it is. So I already have that exact same system here. This is the one that said it was ordered. This is the one that we're going to be using. And actually, this is actually a Ryzen 7 5700. So this is a lot faster than the one that was on there. So really excited to see this put in place. And once everything is here later this afternoon, we're going to pick up and we're going to hook all of the stuff up. So for me, it's going to be a few hours. For you, it's going to be a couple of seconds. So let's go cut over and set everything up. Alrighty, so we're here, and like I told you, everything that we talked about in that $1,000 bundle, I literally just got in right now. So if we go ahead and switch over here, we have our fiber optic HDMI cable. I actually have an Ethernet cable already here. I don't need to have 75 feet of it, but I do have one. I do have a fiber optic, well, I had another cable, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we got that. We have our audio cable. This is just a RCA to 3.5 because that is what I know that this church is going to use. And I have an SMT AV PTZ camera. I'm using this one instead of the other one because, like I said, this is actually for an install. So I needed this one to actually match the color of their sanctuary. But let's go ahead and do a quick time lapse of me putting everything together, and then we'll test it so you can actually see the performance of all of this. I will live stream with it and all that other fun stuff so we can just show the viability of actually using this. So let's get to building. All right, as you can see, we got everything set up here. Let's go over to our top down so you can actually see. Right now I have my DJI Mic 2 plugged in. That's simulating my audio that would be your sound system. This SMT AV I do not believe have NDI functionality. The AV Cans one would. This is the one that we got because of the color for the church I'm actually installing it, so this is a placeholder. For that reason, that's why we have a USB capture card. We equate it for that. That's only $10 it adds in here. I'm using my portable monitor instead of the full size because I have it right off over here off camera. I just don't want to open that whole thing up. And we got our mini system. Everything is connected. Instead of using power, I have this connected over my POE switch, which is all of this is connected. So the POE switch is the same. I'm just using the one that I already got here. The actual POE switch is actually right behind me over there. So that's what we got going on. So now let's go ahead and go into the computer. I already have everything set up and we're gonna just go ahead and play around with this. So I've already set up, now before I jump into that, I don't have a joystick. I did equate for one in that bundle, but the PTZ Optics app, this is the one I was talking about to where we can control the camera. I actually have a older RS-232 joystick that I'm actually gonna give them so that they can actually have way more control over this instead of using a remote, but you can use the app, which we're gonna use. So I already got the IP address for that. Let's go ahead and set that up. And that is 192.168.0.249. And we'll turn the screen on and we connect to it and we give it permissions and there we go. So we have functionality. As you can see, I can move it and all that other fun stuff. So there's our control. Now you see a little bit of a lag and that was because it's over the network. Don't worry about that. The app always does that. We're connected directly over the cable. So we're here on the system right now where you just opened up fresh install of OBS. I didn't even install the bundle yet, configured it, but I have this set up pointing to YouTube. So we want to see what this system can do. All right. So we're going to set it at the max resolution, let it test as high as it can go with 60 frames a second. I am going to point it at YouTube. I want to prefer hardware encoding. I am going to use the streaming key that I copied off screen. And we're just going to run the test and let's see what the performance is on this tiny little system. Now, again, even if the system is powerful enough, you need to make sure your upload speed is fast enough. I'm on FiOS. I have 1,000 up. So upload speed isn't an issue. So this is mainly going to be the computer, what it can handle. And that reminds me, I did not install the latest version of the AMD driver, so it may not detect the GPU. Actually, it did. So it's saying the system right now, using hardware encoding with the GPU, it is capable of a bit rate of 10,000, which is high. I don't even run that when I'm streaming at 4K, but the fact that it can handle it. So I told you, this little system can do it, and it might even get better once we install the AMD software. All right, so now that we're on here, let's go ahead and get all of this set up. The classic thing I always do is we turn off our audio and we have it controlled through our scenes. As you can see, we got our stuff set, our resolution and frame rate. Our output is set to hardware. Even though it says the system can handle that, I'm gonna drop it down to 4,000. That is good. Now let's rename this to default, and let's go ahead and add on our OBS bundle version 3. Always do that for any client that I'm doing their system setup for. And I actually gave them all 3 of them. Probably not going to use them all, but we might as well just add them all on here since we're already doing it. So that's bundle 1, 2, and 3 here. And I'm going to rename this one just to match the whole naming scheme that we have here. We import them, we're good to go. And there's our versions. We're gonna go to version 3. And boom, there we go. I still haven't fixed this counter. So give me a half a second to get that straight. I just gotta drag it down here. So now let's go over to live. We wanna pull in through the capture card. And there's our USB video. Alrighty, so we got our cable connected. I couldn't find another capture card, but there is USB out from here. So that's what I'm using in this scenario. So pardon me for that. It will work, I just can't find that cable. Normally when I do stuff like this, I'll find the cable right when I finish doing this. But anyway, we have a capture card, so we're going into that. So now the other thing I misspoke about, going back over here to the web, if I log into the camera, this camera actually does have NDI functionality, but I don't have a key. So you were probably, like, if you wanted to use this, I think it's like $100 to get the NDI key or something like that, but you do have options. So that's cool. But the other camera we talked about has NDI immediately, so it'll be fine for you. So we got everything there. Let's come back in here. We want to bring in our audio. Not using that, we want to use it using our microphone plug-in, which is coming from our DJI mic. So it's there, and I'm wondering, did I pick the wrong one? All right, so we got our audio here as well too. So if we go in here, test, test. So we're maxing that out, so we're all good to go. Let's lock that in place. So now that we got everything done, let's go ahead and just do a test stream. We'll switch back over here to our countdown. We'll start streaming. Now actually, let me close this out and open it back up, because we did this test. For whatever reason, OBS sometimes keeps that test dimensions and resolution, whatever. We try to stream, so we got everything verified again. So let's start the stream. If we cut back over here, all right, there we go. So if we set this side by side here, and as you can see, we are using 0.5 CPU usage. Let's get rid of that, and we'll bring that back up. But we got everything there. So now if we switch back over to our live scene, it's now me on here. Again, we just went up from 0.5 to 0.3, 0.7, 0.1, and you see we're live here on here. I'm wondering how the audio is picking up. I mean, I'm seeing it register on here. I will do a link to this after the fact. So everything is looking good. Now, even though I'm duplicating the screen, the second output of what you normally would see is what I would set up to where in this small system, this is where I would right click on this and do a full screen projection out. That way, the second output on this system can go to your TVs, HDMI splitter, your projectors, whatever, and whatever hits OBS is what goes out. Now, this is where we might revisit an old video that we talked about before. So if you're using this for a presenter, you need to have some other type of display. You can get a USB one or something like that, so that you can have multiple outs and put like a dummy USB to VGA adapter, so you can faux another screen and so you can capture it in OBS. So we've talked about that, have tons of videos to show. But in this scenario, it just shows you in this small setup for $1,000 how much more you can do with this. So we can always come over here, have me center of the camera. We can do a little zooming in and all this other stuff. And again, I left this up so you can see we're not taxing anything on this system in any way, shape, or form. So we go back here to our task manager. Let's look at the performance. And again, the whole system utilization with everything, we're at 13 to 15%, doing really good. So the main thing is we are able to get a functioning live stream with a full computer, camera, and everything for sub $1,000, which I think is great. Let's go ahead and stop this stream here, and we will stop it on this side as well too. And I think that is about it. So link is going to be down below to everything like this. When we go back to the church, I'll show you where we're going to actually install this, and it's going to be a big night and day transformation based off of what they're using. They were using a USB PTZ camera, and I think this is going to give them a lot more performance. The system is going to be way faster, and just the performance in general I think is going to be a lot better for them. And especially if you're still concerned about trying to live stream and you're still thinking that it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars, at $1,000, this is going to get you a 20x PTZ, a system that's more than capable of live streaming with a small footprint, a monitor, and everything. And then for an extra 150 on top of that 1,000, you can have a PTZ joystick to control this as well too. So link is going to be down below to everything that we got here. And be on the lookout for the video that we install it to, where we show a before and after, what they have and what we do after it, and just the performance that they get from that. So really excited about being able to help them in this type of scenario. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.